Hello, my fellow project managers. Welcome to our session for today on major concerns for PMPs. Now, this is a new channel. This is not the Praizian channel. So if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified when there's videos available for you. So I'd like to say a huge welcome. It's been a long time coming, this channel, because I get calls and emails and notifications from students who are stuck and who need professional advice and help. And this channel is for you. If you are PMP, you're project manager, you work projects at any level, whether in the world of predictive or in the world of agile, this is your home as far as your one place where you know you're going to get support and help for what you're going through after PMP. Now, I got certified back in 2005, so I've been around the block a few times. Before I got certified, I was training Microsoft Project and working with other firms on projects. So I can give quite a bit of advice from what I've experienced. And that's what I'm going to be presenting tonight. I would like to know from you, what are the impediments that you are facing as a PMP? It's one thing to get certified, right? I know people thought the moment they got certified, the magic bells would ring and all of a sudden they'll be translated into this superhuman PMP who can burst through doors and get any opportunities they want. Well, as some of you have learned, it doesn't work that way. There are impediments, there are blockers, there's a new set of obstacles. So before you got certified, you thought the obstacle was the exam, the PMP guide, the Agile guide, right? Those were the obstacles. But those aren't the obstacles now you're certified. So what exactly are the 10 major concerns for PMPs that I see from my vantage point? I would like to know what your concerns are. So if you can share those concerns with me, it will be great. But if not, that's okay. I'll share with you what I have found to be major concerns after getting certified. So why don't we jump straight into it? The 10 major concerns. Remember, this is not all of them, but it's the ones that I have deemed to be major. Number one, when people get certified, I see the lack of a roadmap as being a huge impediment. They get certified and they believe things will just work out without planning. But that's not the case. The lack of direction that I see in a lot of PMs is concerning. Yes, they burned the midnight oil, but what are they going to do now? They have no career plan, no career path. They're pretty much living day to day, kind of making it up as they go along. They got no targets, no career objectives. They actually even have no monetary goals. This is not how to live as a PMP. As a PMP, you need to have a career plan and a career path for how things will unfold. Now, some of you, I got to give it to you. You're really smart at crafting a plan. Some of you got it all figured out, and more power to you. This is not your impediment, I tell you, because some of you have already planned the course of action in getting other certifications and doing other things and getting affiliated with communities of practice. That's exactly what you should be thinking about. So if you don't have a roadmap, you don't have a plan, you want to have one. Number two, complacency. I'm now a PMP. I can relax and take it easy. This is nirvana, the place of bliss. For a day, for a day, because you know life is like the crab barrel, the proverbial crab barrel, where all the crabs are trying to climb out. And honestly, it's survival of the fittest, even in the world of PMP, which is why when some people go for opportunities, they're like, I had so much competition. And I'm like, were you really ready for the competition? Did you think you would have no other PMPs going for the same job? So you have to stand out. You got to think PMP plus, not just PMP. So a lot of folks, I find them being too comfortable. I see them going weeks and months and years. In fact, the moment they get off the PMP train, I don't even hear a peep out of them, whether they're doing great things. And trust me, it's not the great things, because I just hear Nothing. And then from one remote part of the web, I hear, Phil, I'm stuck. I'm like, okay, here we go. Why didn't I just do my job properly in the beginning and tell these folks, don't be complacent. Rule number 2, don't be complacent. So reaching the land of promise and the chill mindset, it's okay for a day or two, but you got to get back on top of it if you want to remain competitive, right? Some people are just, well, I'm in a job where I'm happy, I'm getting the paycheck. It's not a question of being happy. Is that your definite chief aim? Is that where you want to end up? Is that your final destination? That place you're at right now? Seriously? You need to think again. So some people have no consideration of a change in state. They're not thinking about the fact that their state needs to change in accordance with the higher level that they're at. Whether you like it or not, I know some people are haters of PMP, but I'll speak from my experience. And I can tell you that being a PMP elevates your state mentally as a project manager. You can argue, but I've found it to be the case in my life. I remember going for an interview with Honeywell, and they gave me a crazy question. And the question was, how would you implement an earned value management system? Just 12 months ago, I could not answer that question. But as a result of the challenge the exam posed to me, not only was I able to answer the question, I gave a very vivid example from start to finish. Needless to say, I got the job. I was not complacent. The moment I got certified, I said, next thing, I'm going to help people. So whatever you're doing, let there be some action, some traction for your satisfaction. I don't want you just to have some kind of crazy reaction at the end of the day to all that's going on, and you get frustrated and you begin thinking PMP doesn't work. That's the crazy reaction I see from some people. Oh, this PMP, why did I even bother? It's still so hard out there in the marketplace. It's hard because you're not creating traction for action. So don't be complacent. You get the idea. Number 3, fear factor. Some people are just scared. So they stay at the edge, not wanting to jump and grow their wings on the way down. They're scared of everything that moves. They have a distrust in people. They have a lack of allies. They're always playing it safe. They got poor leadership of themselves. I found this to be a very crippling effect. They're just scared for no reason. And even if there was a reason, kill the reason. Because fear is just false evidence appearing real. It's false evidence. So don't be scared. Ask yourself, was PMI on drugs when they made me a PMP? Were they crazy? Do I think PMI are dumb? That they gave me a PMP and I'm not up to snuff? Of course not. This is a tested and tried and proven exam. So if you think PMI made a mistake in giving you your PMP, you're the person who needs help. You're the person. It's not PMI. So there's no basis for the fear. You got to kill it. All right, number 4, not taking on enough responsibilities. I call it lack of a BHAG initiative. Now, what is a BHAG? You see this creature on the screen. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. But these big, hairy, audacious goals are good. We need the BHAGs, as coined by Jim Collins, a good to great guy. We need the BHAGs. Bring them, bring them. Because what a BHAG is going to do is stretch you into your greatness. And if you refuse to take on a BHAG and you're playing it small, well, you forever go with, Mickey and Minnie results. All due respect to my friends at Disney. I'm not talking about Incredible Hulk results, right? You own both, so let's use both as a comparison. You got the Incredible Hulk results, you got the Minnie and Mickey results. Which one do you want? You got to go for the BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. Some folks have no willingness to change things, no willingness to take the bull by the horns, and a lack of initiative to get things moving in the firm. I remember when I got PMP certified, you know what it did to me adrenaline-wise? I was pumped. Some folks, they don't let the PMP pump them. Why? You got to let the PMP blow you up to really understand I've spent 250 hours of my life studying like a crazy person, reading all of these. Hey, let me remind you, Some of you want to forget about, I won't let you forget about it. You read this one? Some of you actually, you regretted it, but you read this one. You read that one. Hey, some of you, some of my students, you read this one, right? Some of you read this one, the Agile one, right? The Agile Principle Run and Cut, my buddy Roy and I wrote. You read all of these books and you are forgetting how much greatness you have in you. Don't forget. So what am I asking you to do? Take on the responsibilities. Go to your boss and say, I want to take on more challenging projects. I challenge you. I challenge you, do it. I want to take on more challenging projects. Bring them. The projects everyone's scared of and running for the hills and ducking and diving, you're saying, bring them. I got what it takes. So it's a mindset, it's a mental disposition to take on those big, hairy, audacious goals. All right, for those of you just coming, I want to say welcome. It's a channel that is purposely to help you as a PMP to get your focus, to get your bearing, to think beyond where you are right now, to actually challenge you. Okay, I see our friend Donna joined. Donna said, I'm so happy you've touched on this. It's a discussion after achieving the PMP cert. You bet you, Donna. Thank you very much for joining, and all our other friends. I just want to say a huge thank you. And if you haven't already subscribed, do that, hit the bell icon, because this is going to keep helping folks. I'm in the business of helping people. I want to take you from your current state to your future state. That's the whole idea. That's the purpose. Because if that didn't happen to me, we wouldn't be here on this call. It happened to me. I was kicked out of the building. My CEO said, Phil, this is your last day. Here's your box. Go to your office. Pack up, Phil. The economy is crazy. Ooh, sorry, we can't keep you. And that's what started this whole adventure. Otherwise, I'd have kept playing small. So don't wait for that to happen to you. Play bigger, play bigger, play bigger, play bigger. Say it to yourself, I'm going to play bigger, play bigger. Number 5, not taking enough risks. What is risk? It's an uncertain event that can impact you positively or negatively. Now, I was playing small. I wasn't taking enough risk. But when I was kicked out of the building and I couldn't find work for 9 months, I said, I guess my fate is I'm just going to have to make this thing work. I got a newborn. I need insurance. Could someone help me? I need help. Phil had to help himself. As they say, Phil had to help himself. Phil had to help himself, and Phil had to find a way. So I took the risk and I started training and coaching and developing people full time. This isn't the part-time stuff I was doing before I went fully into it. I went fully, but I'm not even asking you to do that. I'm just asking you to take enough risk. You know how your career is forming, right? What risks are you scared of? Ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen? And then ask yourself, like I did, what is the best thing that could happen? You see, I started taking calculated risks, and it got to the tipping point where I needed to take a big, hairy, audacious risk, and I wasn't ready to take it. I kept on staying on the sidelines till I was kicked out of the building. And then I was forced to have you only live once mindset. And that's what brought me to where I am today. And I'm so glad I took that risk. Whatever risk, hey, whatever risk you need to take, moving out of that crazy job where the boss treats you like garbage, looking for a new opportunity, my friends. That's what you need to do. I was mentoring and coaching a financial executive a few months ago, and this financial executive had it up to here. He was fed up. Now, this company is in tech space, and he was in the financial area, and he had just had it. And we were crafting a plan for how he was going to move to a different company that had given him employment, and how we were going to develop his team and how we're going to get things organized. So I was coaching this executive. He'd had enough. And I waited for him to get back and waited and waited. And first week went, the second week went, I was out in Europe. I was waiting. I'm like, okay, I guess maybe he's taking his time in this new company. Then on the third week, he contacts me and says, Phil, I actually didn't leave. Like, what do you mean you didn't leave? Meaning, you didn't go to the new company? He's like, no, my current company wouldn't let me leave. They wouldn't let you leave? How? Did they tie you down with barbed wire? What happened? He said, no, Phil. They made me an offer. An offer? Yeah, an offer I couldn't refuse. This guy got close to half of the amount we all look at, the six figures. $50,000 in hand. $50,000 in hand to keep him from going. Wow. Talk about lack of understanding of your own worth in a company. If someone told this guy, hey, we'll give you more money if you stay, in hand. I'm not talking about a promise of we'll increase your salary. No. That's old. This is not a, I'll increase your salary. This is, I'm giving you $50,000 just to make you happy, not to go. And then on top of that, we're going to give you a ton more money. Now, does that show you, my friends, that in many instances, you're in a place where you are devalued? So you refuse to take the risk in leaving. But unbeknownst to you, you are a power broker that is worth so much more, and they would pay you so much more. Now, I'm not saying go do this on Monday morning. Don't say Phil told me to do it. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm using this as an example to show you how a lot of times we don't take risks and we play small. If he had refused to budge, if he had said, no, I'm just going to stay, I'm not going to leave the firm, he wouldn't have known that he could get $50,000 in hand and then a whole lot more money, almost double what he was getting. So let that be a signal to you. However you're playing small because you don't want to take risk, you need to change that mindset. And I encourage you, take a risk. But don't do this on Monday morning. Don't say Phil told me to do it. All right, let's move on. Number 6, not being intentional about leadership growth. The great John Maxwell, he says, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. However successful you are in project management, in life, it's all a leadership job. So a failure to realize that everything rises and falls on leadership is sad. Some folks are clueless about what leadership is, just like I was. I was clueless. I was PMP certified, but I was clueless. But the light bulb came on in 2009, and I started studying John's material hungrily. I read the 360-degree leader. Now I'm one of the founding members of the John Maxwell team, and that's why I formed the Project Leadership Institute to help people, to take them levels above, to teach them things I've trained companies in, to help those teams play bigger, smarter, better in leadership. So assuming one knows about leadership because one is a project manager is foolhardy. There's a lot more to learn. Trust me. I did all the same things that you learned. Trust me, leadership is more than Maslow, McGregor, Herzberg, Theory X, Ouchie, Theory Z, all that. It's all that and then a whole lot more. And you need to be intentional about how you study leadership. And I want to encourage you to keep staying tuned to this channel because I'm going to be showing you what leadership is all about. It's a lot more than the theories. Theories are great. They're great foundational stuff. And I have hours and hours of those recordings I'm going to be bringing to you. But you got to go beyond that, right? You got to go into the pragmatism of leadership. All right. Number 7. The drown alone syndrome. I call it the DAS syndrome, which is sad. The drown alone syndrome is when someone refuses to ask for help. Some people are deceived into thinking that asking for help is weakness. So as they're drowning slowly, they refuse. They don't yell, they don't scream. They just keep trying, grasping at straws. And then at the end of the day, unfortunately, they never make it out of that swamp. Don't do that. Don't do that. Ask for help. And this is not just for job kind of stuff. I'm talking about even mental health. If you are finding it excruciatingly hard, my friend, please ask for help. You got friends and maybe family who care about you. And honestly, if no one else cares, your buddy Phil, trust me, I will care because you're listening to the sound of my voice and we are connected for a reason. If you are in a swamp and you're finding it hard somehow, please talk to someone, especially in your career. If you don't know what to do, please look for help. I cannot tell you how many people, professionals, director level, C-level, have approached me for help because they're stuck. And it's okay to be stuck, but stuck stinks. And if you're not getting help, if you're not getting some advice, some coaching, some mentoring, you're just going to drown alone, which is sad because there's resources around you to help you, right? So be bold about it. Be bold. Family, friends, your buddy Phil, I'll give you an answer in a second, right? I asked so many people this evening, hey, tell me what you're struggling with. Everyone's acting all cute. No one's telling me their problems. I'm like, okay, I guess this is a number seven problem, right? The drown alone syndrome, because I know people got problems, but they don't want to say I got a problem. And then that problem becomes a bigger problem. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Asking for help is not weakness. Number 8, not being hybrid obsessed. Wow. People forget that agile is everywhere. And even if they know agile is everywhere, they get so obsessed with a one-track mind, just looking at, well, you're not a scrum master, so I guess you're not very intelligent. Seriously? Don't you realize PMI wants us to be agnostic in how we see the world of project management? Predictive hasn't gone away. There's still some people who are so deluded. They're so deluded, they forget. Hey, let me remind you, my friends who have forgotten the great work of Ralph Douglas Stacey, requirement uncertainty, technical uncertainty, the simple zone, anarchy, and complexity. This is where agile thrives, but don't forget, this is where predictive thrives. So if you're going off on that fake gas, that gasoline that stinks, that says, well, agile is the only way, or predictive is the only way. I see some folks on social media making a fool of themselves, disparaging agile, saying that you could run everything on predictive gas. And then you got these clowns who are in denial about predictive being worth any consideration. Both of them are zealots, and they're both bad. We don't want to be like that. There's balance. So you are agnostic. If you're a PMP, you're agnostic, right? Some people have this linear thinking, only PMI and PMBOK work. Everything has to be predictive. Agile people are clowns and jokers. You're the joker. I'm telling you, it's not those people who are using one method because they've balanced the situation. Remember what Ralph Douglas Stacey showed us. Hey, if you've forgotten the page, it's page 14 in the Agile Practice Guide, the Stacey model, right? There's a place for the simple zone, right? And there's a place for things to be more agile. It's that simple. All right, and let me flog a dead horse. You get the idea. Let's move on. Number 9, getting in your own way. I call this the negativity syndrome, the imposter syndrome, and it's just as bad as the plum disease. Someone says, Phil, what's the plum disease? It's the poor little old me disease. A lot of people have this. I studied as hard as I could. I actually borrowed money to become a PMP. And now I can't find a job. No one will hire me. Why won't anyone hire you? I guess my skills aren't up to snuff. Stop it. Your skills aren't up to snuff. Are you saying PMI was deluded and high on something when they made you a PMP? You see, let me tell you the problem a lot of people face. They forget the work they did. And they forget how much effort they put in. So when they get certified, they're running on old gas that says, well, you're not really all that much. Don't do that. You studied for hundreds of hours. And then we have other people who say, well, I guess I didn't put in enough time. I studied for 4 weeks and got PMP. No wonder I don't know anything. Don't be a clown. Pick up your books, dust your books, get up to the level that you feel comfortable in all those areas, and stop thinking negatively. Whatever you need to do to adjust your stinking thinking, just do it. Because I can't stand what some people say. Oh, I guess I'm not smart enough. I haven't been in college for 50 years, Phil. Are you kidding me? So PMI was diluted and high on something? No. I've had, in the past 1 year, 2 of my students are clocking 7 decades, 7. Hey, do I need to write it down? 7-0. I have 2 students who kill the exam at 70. And they're sharp as tack. So you're telling me that you, because you haven't been to college for XYZ years, you're not smart? Stop it. That's the plum disease. And I highly discourage the plum disease. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be negative. All right, number 10. I know you were waiting for it. No coach or mentor. It's a kind of big problem, because if you don't have a coach or a mentor, you're just flying free, right? And what happens when the engine goes off? Could have a crash landing. It's risky. My recommendation is find someone in your firm at a minimum, find a mentor in your firm for your career. It will help you. Have a coach outside of the firm for your career that is outside of the workplace, because there are things you can learn from someone in-house. Like in my Honeywell days and my days in other firms, I had mentors. I had people I could go to and look to them for advice. And I was a mentor to other people. No man is an island. Find someone in your firm that can help you as far as the business is concerned. And then outside of the firm, have someone that can help you as far as professional project management and leadership. And I tell people say, well, Phil, I don't know where to go. Go on down to pmanonymous.com and get some time. Even if you have a once a month meeting, do you know how much value that could add in the grand scheme of a year? You've been for 12 hours of coaching and mentoring and invested that back into your career. How will you not play bigger? How will you not succeed? You know, it amuses me, the PMP community, they're some of the most guilty of this. PMI asks them to pay $555. They take the exam, they get certified, and then they don't want to spend anything else to improve. And all they want is free PDUs, and they get free PDUs, but they don't get the intellect and the propensity to do great things, which is sad. So as a rule, I would recommend taking a 10% of whatever you're making and put it back into yourself. I don't care how you do it, whether it's going for a seminar, whether it is dialing into more information from the PMI, whether it's going to pmanonymous.com to book some time so that we can sit down and help you to get to that next level. Whatever it is, just spend on yourself. Don't get into the habit of playing small. You are your most expansive asset. You are. So why don't you invest more in yourself and become a power broker? Boss up, dominate your space. I don't care whether you're in healthcare, whether you're in construction, my construction brothers and sisters, because that's where I'm from, right? Spend some time going larger. I challenge you. If you're in construction, have you thought about doing some of PMI's micro certifications in construction? Maybe just do one. Just do one. Check it out. It's low risk, high value. Check it out. Go on down to PMI's site and check it out. And then you let me know what you thought about it. Just do something. Okay? So if you don't have a coach or mentor, you're playing small, my friend. Again, think about it. Now, there are other impediments, other job impediments. So many of these other job impediments. There's team conflict. This is another set of 10. But let me give you quick fixes for them, right? Team conflict, team charter is what you need. Sit down with the team, have a team charter, have some really cool conversations about team chartering and expectations. A bad boss. Now, how much skin do you have in the game? You got a lot of skin in the game. I'm going to tell you to have a conversation with that bad boss. Bring out a chair, talk to that boss. Hey, 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 some of you are being abused in the job. And I've been there. Have you had a boss ever make fun of your salary, your skill level, your appearance? That's not okay. It's not okay. You need to call that boss to order. You even get HR involved. That's the quick fix. Some of you playing small, playing like the little mouse in the corner, and you're being abused. I can't stand it. It makes me mad. Do something about it, my friend. If you're being abused at work, if you're being made fun of by the boss, if you are being abused mentally, if work has become mental torture, I need you to rescue yourself. Get HR involved. Just do something. Not to talk of other types of abuse and harassment. Please do something about it. Okay, that's one of my hot buttons. Excuse me. All right, let's move on. Setting clear goals and objectives. If you are struggling with that, it needs to be physician, heal thyself. You need to get Kanban, some Kanban into your life. So I highly recommend if you're having trouble setting clear goals and objectives, I want you to be a Kanban obsessed PM, because in my mind, Kanban can do great things. It's done great things for me. I wrote 12 books using Kanban, plus a comic, by the way. Kanban works, but you got to be true to yourself and you got to let it be right there in your face, and Kanban will work wonders for you. Number 4, scope creep. Scope creep is a creep. So why would you let it live on your team? It's a time for crucial conversation. You need to educate and train your team. You see, some of the problems I face with my students is they're too cute. They like being cute. They don't want to tell the truth. You got to tell the truth. You know, talking about scope creep, I was in this company, name withheld, just in case they're watching. And I had this character on the team. He was in sales, but the customer would ask, can I get this feature, that feature, that feature? And as though on cue, he'd stand up from his desk. He had the most annoying habit of marching around the conference room in the middle of meeting, just marching around like a lord. And he said, yes, we can do that in a day. Shush. You haven't even talked to the team. Are you kidding me? You can do this in a day? You see, I was faced with Mr. Scope Creep himself. And I was so glad when the customer said, enough. I only want to speak to Phil. So everything had to go through me. And of course, you know, I didn't let them scope creep after that. But you get a lot of people in the companies trying to be Superman, promising the world when they can't even deliver an oyster, right? Promising heaven and earth. No, you can't. You can't. You got to address scope creep. Candor is what is lacking. Number 5, budget restrictions and changes. It is what it is. My recommendation to you is go back and have a dose of training in chapter 7 and chapter 4. And if you find that your company is not doing very well with change management, maybe you need to go watch the course that is now available on this channel. We got the first 5 chapters on change management. So you need to think organizational change, but you also need to think about change on projects. So just go look for my videos on change on projects. Maybe you can bring about a change in how change is managed. Number 6, lack of communication. This is one of the biggest killers. A lot of people, again, I got to address it. Students, people, graduates of mine, trying to be cute. What's wrong with you? Start talking to people. Just get the mouth in motion. Get the mouth in motion. Don't be scared of communicating. There's so much of it. I see this problem across the board. Everyone trying to look all good and cute. Meanwhile, you're seething with rage. You're seething with rage at what's going on in the firm, and you're just sitting down with with your hands under your seat. Come on now. I'm not saying go crazy, but have a conversation. Be controlled. Have a neutral mindset, first of all. This is what I recommend to all of my graduates. Have a neutral mindset, have a neutral disposition. Understand that what you're facing is not because someone is against you. It is just what it is. So have a positive mental attitude when you can. But if you're like, Phil, no, I can't have a positive mental attitude about this. The bare minimum I would want you to have is a neutral attitude, neutral mindset. You know, we talk about the earns less in stakeholder management, unaware, resistant, neutral, right? Supportive leading. I'm not even saying be in the leading role. I'm just saying be neutral when you are addressing problems and issues. Try as much as possible to watch your countenance, your body language. Let it be as neutral as possible. You will get a lot further along in trying to resolve issues in your communication. Remember the great Professor Emeritus Alba Mehrabian at UCLA in his experiments. He found out that when you communicate, there's a 55-38-7 configuration. 55% of your communication is in what is not said. It's in the body language. And it's not said with words, but it's said with your body language. So you better mind your language, right? 38% is your tone of voice. Make sure you balance that up. Try to use softer, rounded tones. And then when there's congruence with the words, and you're able to soften those rough words and everything is aligned, I'm telling you, you could cause a boss who says no to say yes. But it takes a lot of intentionality in your communication. My buddy, Dr. Rick Brinkman, who wrote the book, Dealing with People You Can't Stand, he says it's being a conscious communicator. You got to be a conscious communicator. All right. Mismatched team skills. I would highly advocate that if this is happening or has happened, you learn your lessons. And before hiring anyone, let the team have a say. Gone are the days when one person will interview the employee and away you go. No, have the team, have team interviews as much as you can. Being respectful of time, keep them short and sweet, but let the team have a feel for that individual, right? Number 8, absence of accountability. You just got to hold yourself accountable, and you got to allow the team to hold themselves accountable. Have an agile mindset in that regard. Number 9, impractical deadlines. Well, if you're getting impractical deadlines and you're not using trade-offs, perhaps it's time for you to begin educating the PMO. And if there's no PMO, there's no VDO, perhaps it's something that you could introduce, because impractical deadlines should be addressed at some level. But who will bell the cat? You should, as a PMP. Number 10, final one, personal time management. Phil, I know how to manage my time. I know how to get myself straight. It goes back to what I said in the very beginning. Kanban. Kanban is your friend, and it answers a lot of stuff. Not everything, but a whole lot of stuff. All right, my friends. Well, we are at the end of our first live, and I want to say I am extremely grateful that you took time out today, this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, to spend some time with your buddy Phil. I appreciate it. If there's anything you want featured on this channel, I need you to let me know. And I want to thank Donna for the chats. And Donna said, some of us are intimidated by our certs. Exactly. And afraid of what we are embarking on as a certified PMP. First intimidated by the PMBOK, then intimidated by the exam, then the next step. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Now let's address some of those concerns, Donna. Let's address them, because I was there. You know what my biggest concern was? Not knowing my stuff, or thinking that I knew when I didn't. And you know the way around that? I had a great mentor. Her name is Mary Hirschner. She introduced me to the world of PMI. And if I was stuck, I'd look to Mary for advice and help. In fact, Mary was pivotal beyond my PMP. She was pivotal into getting me into a role that catalyzed where I am today. I have so much to be grateful for where my mentor, Mary Hirschner, is concerned. So these things that you're sharing, a lot of this can be addressed through a knowledgeable, capable mentor who has been there, done that. And I encourage you to keep bringing these to my attention. And as much as I can, I will address them on this channel. Great stuff, Donna. Thank you for that. Donna says, it's so funny. This past week, I had a few junior PMs look up scope creep and gold plating. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Donna. I appreciate you sharing all this great information. And now I want to ask our friends who are watching, do you have any questions that I can address for you? If there's anything I can do, anything I can address, I would like to know. A quick intermission, few seconds. Any concerns? Okay, so let me talk to you a little bit more about the channel. The channel is to cater to PMPs, project managers, program managers, schedulers, agilists, risk professionals, anyone remotely connected with projects and organizations. We're going to be addressing leadership, managing, interpersonal skills. We're going to be talking about how you can interact with individuals in the world around you in a more proactive manner, communicating consciously. I'm going to be bringing my buddy, Dr. Rick Brinkman, on here from time to time. You see a nugget from Dr. Rick about communicating consciously. We're also going to be talking about meetings you can't stand, dealing with individuals you can't stand. My buddy Roy is also going to be featured on this channel. You're going to be hearing from Roy about how to think and be agile, how to live in an agile fashion. A lot of the tips and tricks we share with companies worldwide, we're going to be bringing to your attention on this channel. So please subscribe, hit like, share with your friends, okay? And I really look forward to having more of these conversations with you about how we can move to the next level as PMPs. So thank you very much. I'll say my goodbye, good night, good day. And as things come up, please let me know. All right, we got a question from Jamal. Jamal, thank you very much for the question. And Jamal says, any questions on starting a new job as a PM? That's a brilliant question, Jamal. Let's talk about that. So my top tip for starting a new job as a PM is, first of all, do your research about the company. And I'm not talking about for purposes of the interview. Yeah, you got the interview. It's in the bag. They've given you the job. But do your research. Study the company, study the product, understand the product. And then on day one, this is what I want you to do on day one. On day one, I want you to meet with your direct leader, boss, manager, whatever we call. Meet with that individual and ask the question, what are the major pain points that I could expect in this position? It's based on historical information. You can also ask, what are your major pain points that you want this position to resolve, or that you want this position to take care of in some way? And then I want you to meet with the team, and I want you to do the same thing. And I want you to ask any of the team members you can, what are the impediments that you are facing right now, the big ticket items that I can resolve? And you'd be amazed at how people open up and tell you what they're struggling with. And guess what? If you are able to use your network of influence to make those things happen, get those impediments taken care of, you'll be amazed at the level of trust that builds. And I'm talking from experience, because that was the case when I was at Honeywell. My peers were failing this exam that we know. You see, my boss's impediment, being the PMO manager, was not, oh, schedules and budgets. It was like, fail, we got a ton of people failing this exam. I'm like, oh, you know what? I could offer lunch and learns. I took care of my boss's impediments. I got 50 of my colleagues certified. It wasn't my job, but because I looked and I asked and I realized, wow, this is a bloodbath here. I can help people. I know what this crazy exam is all about. So on day one, going into the company, you're going in with a propensity to get all of these impediments, to be a servant leader. You need to have a servant leader mindset. So after you've researched the company and you've found the impediments, begin to build your network. Begin to find allies, and find allies quick. And just communicate freely, because we're all there. You know, the mindset needs to be one of, I'm not going to be shy. I'm not going to be all cute. I'm here to help this company. And whoever I need to be connected to do this, I will connect with them. I'll find allies. I'll help them. They'll help me. And together we're going to make this company better. And you know what I want you to do after that initial meeting with your boss and with the team? I want you to keep having these intermittently over time. What is the greatest pain point? Because trust me, happy boss, happy employee. Sad boss, distressed employee. And a lot of the individuals who I coach on PM Anonymous, they tell me, Phil, after a while of going through the coaching, they're like, Phil, I just seem to be doing everything right. My boss is really happy with me. I'm like, yeah, it's that magic recipe that you're using. Find the impediments, pursue the impediments, take care of them. Now, in addition to what I've asked you to do for your day one and subsequent days, it's important that you keep growing with your awareness of the company. So you want to keep building a network. I cannot tell you how priceless this is to build your network of influence in a company. Don't just play small in a tiny little business unit. Spread out your tentacles and find who you can help and find who can help you. And that's what makes the world go round. You give a little, you take a little. Don't be shy at taking. If you need help, let someone help you. That would be my 2 cents. When I needed help, people came to my aid. Why? Because I had been there for them. I had helped them. Like the colleagues I told you were failing the test. So when my tenure came to an end at Defense and Space, and I needed to make a move into IT, guess who all my references were? Those are people I had helped. And one of them picked up the phone and called the hiring manager and said, look, if you don't hire this guy, I'm telling you straight up, you missed the boat. You better hire this guy. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because I was in there on a 2-year stint. And, those time was running out and I was meant to leave if I didn't get another secure employment in that place. And one of the people I had mentored, who had actually observed my mentoring, he said I inspired him so much. He actually got certified before I started my program, but he saw how I was helping people and he jumped in to help me and gave me a glowing review. So the bigger your network, and I got the job, started on the Monday, left on a Thursday, started with IT effectiveness on a Monday. So my advice to you, my friend, is go in there with a positive mental attitude. Okay. Are you still listening, Jamal? Let me make sure that you're still listening. Jamal, tell me if you're still listening. But I want you to go in there with a PMA, positive mental attitude. I need you to go into that job on day one, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that you are a boss. Go in there knowing that you have every right to be at that table. That's how you need to think. Now, some might say, but Phil, I'm not a PMP. You're still a boss. You bossed up on the interview. Do you think the people that interviewed you need help? Do you think they were deluded when they gave you the position? No, you're the best candidate there was. So you got to go in with that mindset. You have every right to be there at the table. I don't care whatever table, all the way up to sea level. You got every right to be there at the table with those individuals. So don't feel small. I see some meetings, you see people with their shoulders tipped over and their hands in between their legs. Come on now. Boss up. Boss up. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely, Angela. Angela's is affirming it's a PMA. The great Zig Ziglar, he'll just tell you it's a positive mental attitude. The great Zig Ziglar, he says it's your attitude that determines your altitude, not your aptitude. It's not about, oh, I know all the PMBOK guidance. No, it's not about that. It's about a PMA, positive mental attitude. All right, you get the idea. You get the idea. All right, Donna says, also communication confidently use, yeah. So regarding PM terminology, you got to begin using it. That's why I encourage people before they get certified to start using what they learn. And sometimes they think, well, Phil, you just want me to pass the exam. No, it's not about that. I want you to be valuable to your employer. I want you to be able to function in the marketplace confidently, calculatedly. I remember going for an interview at American Airlines and I said, I'm a dynamic PM. And the interviewer said, well, what do you mean by dynamic PM? Care to shed some more light on it? And I said, I'm a PM who's able to adapt and bounce back to anything that's happening. So you got to have your wits about you. Use this PM language, you'll be regarded. And needless to say, I did get that job as well. All right. Okay, my friends. Well, it's been a huge pleasure talking with you. I really appreciate your contribution with all of these great questions. Keep them coming. We're going to have as many of these sessions as we are able, and I will always be at the ready to give you the 411 on project management, on leadership, communications, and all things agile as well. Okay. Thank you all very much, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next session, whenever that will be. All right, so just stay tuned to the channel. Thank you, my friends, and bye for now.